right, good afternoon. I'm Chief Jennifer Gabbert with the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. That's spelled Jennifer. Last name Gabbert, Gabbert. We are here for an update for you this afternoon. We are glad to announce that our Deputy Tipton, Tipton, Deputy Tipton is doing well and will likely be released from the hospital as early as this evening. He was struck 3 times. It does not appear anywhere life-threatening, and we are glad to hear that he is going to be going home soon. I'm going to introduce to you Sergeant Wagner from the Fort Worth Police Department. She's going to give you an update on the rest of the scene and what has occurred since our last media briefing. Thank you.
Can you give us Tipton's first name, please?
Todd, T-O-D-D.
Good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Leah Wagner, W-A-G-N-E-R. I know today has been kind of a scary day for everybody in this community. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of traffic, and we want to tell you first off that we appreciate everybody's patience and their understanding while this unfolds. Our priority is the safety of our citizens as well as our officers, so thank you. What we have for an update right now is that this is still an active scene. However, there is no current danger to the community. The suspect is confirmed to be deceased at this time. What we don't know at this moment is what I cannot confirm is whether or not that the suspect was shot, but we cannot confirm whether or not it was self-inflicted or by shots received by officers. At one point, the suspect did state that there were people in the home besides himself, and that was a concern. However, when officers cleared the residence, no one else was located, and no other injuries were reported at that time, other than several SWAT officers who received minor injuries from glass at the scene. Because this is an active investigation, this is very preliminary, we don't have much more details. We'll do the best that we can to answer your questions, but just please understand that it is still very early. Now I'd like to pass this on to Chief Neil Noakes, who will step up with a few words.
You know, in the policing world, we see ourselves as one big family, regardless of where officers, deputies, or agents may actually work. And whenever one is injured, it hits home. But especially when it literally hits home right here in Fort Worth, Texas, in Tarrant County, and we have a Tarrant County Sheriff's deputy who's been injured because of a violent, sick, twisted criminal. Someone who decided he wanted to try to take out some officers today, but thankfully he was not successful. Please know that we've had tremendous support today from other local law enforcement agencies, obviously from the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office, but also the state and our federal partners as well. We'll continue providing every bit of support we can, and we know our federal and local and state partners will do the same. It does my heart good to be able to stand up here today and tell you, though, 2 things. 1, Deputy Tipton is going home, and 2, there's a violent criminal who is actively trying to kill deputies and officers today who is no longer a threat. And we're very early on in this investigation. I don't know that there's much more information that I can provide, but I do want to open it up if you have questions, and I will do my best.
Could you elaborate a little bit about the injuries that they all received?
The injuries, I would actually defer to Chief Gabbert on the injuries to the deputy.
There were 3 injuries. He was struck in the back of the head. It's a grazing wound. He does have shrapnel, but he is going to be okay with that. He was struck in the arm, and he was struck in the lower back.
Chief, can you tell us if the sheriff has spoken with Tipton at all and what?
Yes, Sheriff Wayburn is at the hospital, has been at the hospital since soon after Tipton arrived there, and has been there to support him and has spoken with him, yes.
The original charges that these warrants were for, they came out of Fort Worth, Tarrant County. What can you tell us around the original crimes that these warrants were for?
I can't confirm the agency. I can tell you that our officers were serving the warrants, and they were 3 felony warrants: sexual assault against child, indecency with a child sexual contact, and unlawful restraint under 17.
Was there any indication at all that this man had a gun at all? That were deputies concerned about that ahead of time?
ahead of time? I don't have that information. I'm sorry.
Can you please confirm whether, I think I heard exchanged gunfire. Does that mean that the suspect also shot? Or
We don't
fired
have
shots?
those. We don't have that detail yet. We do know that the suspect shot our deputy.
I can give you a little information
Yeah.
on that.
I'm going to turn that back over to Fort Worth.
As far as the initial encounter with the Tarrant County deputies, I cannot confirm anything on that yet. We're still working to find that out. What I can confirm is when our SWAT officers were forced to make entry because there were threats to supposed hostages that this man said he had inside, that suspect fired at my officers as they approached, and they did return fire.
What was said about the hostages that he claimed he had? Did he
Just that he had hostages. I don't have any
specify?
further information. No, ma'am.
Is there any indication that he was lying in wait? I don't know, like God forbid this be an ambush of some kind. Is there any indication that that was?
That was definitely a fear. We already knew that he was violent. We already knew that he was armed. So obviously the threat of an ambush was a huge concern for us.
And how does that change then how you guys come in on a felony warrant? And did that happen here?
Well, normally in a situation like that, we're not going to force entry unless we have to, unless there's a threat of life to someone other than the person we're trying to arrest. In this situation, the information we were given by the suspect led us to believe that there were people inside and their lives were in danger.
You guys are doing the investigation. What happens next?
We have our major case unit on scene. The district attorney's team that comes out to investigate incidents like this responded as well. As is usual, our internal affairs unit will have their own investigation. Just started. Obviously, we don't have a lot of information to give about each of those specific investigations, but it will be investigated very thoroughly.
Chief, the SWAT officers, are they PD who were injured by the glass, and what was happening during that moment? How did the glass?
Yes, ma'am. The SWAT officers that were injured were all Fort Worth Police Department SWAT officers. And during part of the breaching process, when they broke a window, that's when the injuries were sustained. And that's as far as we know at this point.
But they're not hospitalized. Or
I don't know if they're going to have to seek medical treatment beyond what they did on scene, but there were multiple who received injuries from that glass.
And you guys, I mean, are y'all naming the suspect? And if not, at least give us more information as to who this man is.
What, did you release that information already?
We have not released it.
Okay, give us a little bit of time on that. We will get that out, but let us make sure we have everything set up the way we need to before we release the name.
How many deputies originally responded?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Stephen.
Haltom was known to Fort Worth PD.
That I can't confirm at this time.
And when
Sir,
How many deputies originally showed up to serve the warrant?
not sure the number of deputies that showed up originally, but we'll get that information out as soon as we
when will
can.
residents be allowed back in? I guess if you're saying that it's still an active situation, but no danger.
Well, initially we had more of the residences cleared out just to make sure citizens were safe because we didn't know what might happen. As we're making the scene safer and collapsing down the size of that scene, we're letting people back into their homes.
What would you say to members of the community who have lost trust in law enforcement and say, if somebody shows up with a gun, I am not opening my door whether they have a badge or not?
Okay, first of all, it's a ridiculous question. Second of all, whenever we're talking about trusting law enforcement, sir, we had multiple officers from multiple agencies come out here and put their lives on the line to protect the residents of Fort Worth. They did their job like true heroes. For those who don't trust us, I wish they'd look at the actions of officers like this that we see every single day. That's my answer, sir.
All right, that's it.
We're
Thank you
done.
very much, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Any other further, go ahead and send them to policemedia@forwardtexas.gov. We will provide updates as we get them. Thank you very much.